Welcome to another episode of the Top Corner Podcast.
We need a drum roll. We have so many sounds and so many samples over there, but we don't have the drum roll.
Yeah, today's 3/17/2025, and it's the month of March, and this is the Women's Month. That's what people say.
Is that what they say?
I don't know.
That's cool. Good for them. I'm glad that they have that month.
I guess.
Makes me happy.
Everybody got a month, I guess.
It's true.
I just gotta get one. But but we are back today.
Yes, sir.
Back in the building. Back doing great things and back talking about football.
The greatest sport on the planet.
Yeah.
You would agree with that, correct?
I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people would debate it because we don't hit people. Some people, they don't hit people and they score like one goal in 40 minutes. And the other rest of the world be like, this is what we like to twin.
Yeah, I don't need the people that I look to for entertainment to get concussed to have a good time. That's just me. And I'm not even saying it in the way of like, football is bad and we should stop playing. I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm saying if your deciding factor for not liking a sport is that they can't be too overly violent with each other, that says something about you, I think.
Yeah. It's crazy though. I think there's a big thing about that in the US, and I remember watching a documentary. I was summarized in 1 or 30 seconds, but the argument of the documentary or the person that did the documentary was that when soccer kind of came in the US, it was mainly at the college level, it was mainly for women. Since it was already established for women, because women didn't have a sport that was like, especially if you go at MTSU, they probably will not create a men's soccer just because a men's soccer team just because it would take away from the women due to Title IX or whatever, right?
Interesting.
And by the time that they were fixing to inject money, the traction had already gained so much power in the US that it was at college level, it was women. That's why women do so great in the professional when it goes to national. And it became, and at the time too, football was already there, and you had all these great college sports that translated to the pro that were already big, that it was kind of difficult to get that same traction for soccer. And they didn't just put that into they just didn't think about it that much and just left it for the women. But yeah, the documentary is actually very, very, I don't know if I can look it up again. I probably can send you the link. The argument makes a lot of sense because the person had a lot of, he just didn't pull out a lot of things out of thin air. He had facts, and he had some things that the Senate had passed. And the college level, he had this what we call Title IX. It's in the college sports that for each university, the women gotta have some kind of sport. So if you have a lot of sport that are dedicated to the men, you gotta have for women. And sometimes they don't want to mix it up right and stuff like that.
And I think that part of it too was that we insisted on changing things about soccer to individualize it to us rather than letting it be
soccer itself,
as it is everywhere else. Like the run-up penalties from the MLS. Do you remember that? Where they started at like the halfway line. And
that was the dumbest thing ever.
There's that, and then we separate, instead of having one large table, you break it up into the conferences. Like basketball, you have the playoffs, and there are just so many things that happen within the MLS system that don't happen anywhere else. To where it's alien enough for the Americans because it's still not their like biggest sport, and then it's alien to all soccer fans across the globe because it doesn't function the way that their system does. So it kind of gets this odd man out reputation. And I wonder how much they would benefit from sort of conforming to the global standard.
I think it would benefit a lot, but I think that there will be a big push at some point in the US when they figure out how to market it, because now these arguments are based on the general consensus of how sports work in general in the US, but on the money side, because it had been so long that they haven't had or they didn't think about how to market it. Now in this era where they know, especially now, I would think back in like 2010, as far as I know, football in the US, which is soccer for you guys, it wasn't as big or popular right now. I mean, they had that one thing in Nashville, was the Premier League, whatever. It was the biggest event that people showed up to. I just think that the fact that it's becoming I guess popular when the big guys figure out how to market it and make some money.
And, I think personally, I actually had this conversation yesterday with my wife and my grandpa. I want to see the numbers in like 4 years' time with this Apple deal. I want to see how much it actually hurts the viewership. Because less people are watching it now, because not everybody has Apple TV.
That's
More
true.
people have cable than Apple TV, and no one's willing to like buy a whole streaming service and then the sports package to watch these games. I want to eventually, but they don't have to release the numbers either. Whereas broadcast television, the Nielsen ratings come out, and you get a sense like it's easier to access information.
Yeah.
And the whole deal was made to basically subsidize Messi coming to the league, and he's gonna leave sooner than that deal ends. So I just want to, once that deal's done, be like, what were those numbers in 2018 before the deal? What were you doing on broadcast television, and what are you doing now?
I think there's a great fix for that. If you want to keep it streaming for the young crowd that don't have cable, you gotta let NBC buy it. Because they already have Peacock, which a lot of people already watch the Premier League games on. Then if you have the MLS, it's easy. I already have a subscription. And the fact that they alternate between cable and streaming, then you can get your viewership through cable and you can get it back through streaming. And it's just one bundle.
They're gonna have to bundle the package for sure, because but more people have Peacock than Apple TV. Not like Apple TV might be one of the, and I could be wrong, I don't know, but I don't know anybody else that has Apple TV. The reason that we have it is because we have a deal with our phones where Apple TV was free. But more people have Peacock and Netflix and Hulu than they have Apple TV. So
they should think about it in that sense.
Anyway, that was not on the program, folks. We just kind of went off on that tangent.
The Premier League Newcastle won their first ever trophy in how many years?
Since 1969.
And do you not think about how Liverpool kind of bottled that one? Thinking about all the great things they've done this. And everyone is looking at Liverpool.
They were competing for the quadruple. Like a couple months ago, they were really considered for the quadruple, and now they're only in one competition. But I think that it shows how threadbare you can end up being when you're playing all of those midweek games. I think I forgot who it was, they did the math, and between Newcastle not being in certain competitions, they had Liverpool had 9 midweek games more than Newcastle did, and it's like it looked like it too. They looked really tired.
Newcastle also kind of, they are really doing great. I feel like Isaac will leave if this, I don't know, I feel like big money is coming his way.
I agree.
He cannot stay. I don't see how he can stay at Newcastle.
I think we had this conversation a couple months ago where like he's one of those few players that it's like, who in Europe, like which squads in Europe truly don't need him? How many?
A lot of them.
Real Madrid, in theory, have other options. Like who else in that center forward position does not need Isak or someone as good? Like there are not many guys playing at that level. And even though I don't even know if Mbappe's playing at that level, but you don't. You keep him. You keep Haaland up there, but
but he's leaving. I just don't say.
Everyone wants him to.
Either Liverpool would try to come for him. For Arsenal, I don't know, because I don't even know what players they try to come for. But I know a lot of teams will try to come for Isak.
I think Barcelona wanted him as well, because they even though Lewandowski is playing very well, you need someone to come in and replace him. And there are so many more. Everybody needs him, or everybody wants to. Everyone would be glad to have him.
Everybody. Looking at Arsenal Chelsea, that was a big game.
It was a big game, but it was not a good game to watch.
It was a boring game.
It was a boring game.
But
it was a sloppy game.
A lot of errors that was made on the field, both from the ref, and I feel like the ref kind of was lenient towards Chelsea. In a sense, because they had a lot of things that happened. I mean, this Fofana guy. Is it Fofana?
This Fofana guy.
Man, I feel like he could send players to the stretcher and no one would have said anything.
And because it got a little chippy, and even the commentators were talking about it as well, of like the VAR didn't quite know the temperature of the game, so it's like they were kind of letting certain things go. And I understand letting certain things go, or like actually, let me get your opinion on that. Do you agree that referees should, in theory, be a little more lenient early on in the game so that nobody's straddled with a yellow card for the entirety, or do you try your best to be as clinical as possible? Like that's a foul in the 4th minute, that's a foul in the 81st minute, that's a foul outside the box, that's a foul inside the box.
I'll establish dominance from the get-go. That's what I would do.
Red cards on both sides. Because 1 second in.
The thing about it, if it's a game like Chelsea, Arsenal, or one of these high tempo game with a lot of friction, a lot of animosity, a lot of emotions, and it's a derby.
The first half had that too.
Yeah, you gotta establish the tempo at the first minute because each team has to understand this can't fly. Yeah. Because the moment you let it go through, then you, the ref, will be in trouble because you let A slide. Then B is kind of worse, but because you let A slide from, let's say, Arsenal, and B is worse from Chelsea, you're like, if I give a yellow card now, it becomes a big deal because people are gonna be. And
like, it's one of those matchups as well where if you are lenient, it's guaranteed to get out of hand. Yes. There is no matchup like a Liverpool, Man United, or Manchester City derby, or this one, or North London, where like. There's no like
Tottenham, Chelsea,
they will always be physical.
You gotta establish.
Fulham, Chelsea, they don't like each other as well. So it's like you're guaranteed if you don't step in and rectify the situation early, that they won't get chippy.
Yeah, I wouldn't leave it. I would do Colina method, man. Everybody can get it.
Yeah, you love Colina.
Everybody can get it. No partner.
Yeah,
it's like they look lost. I mean, you spend that much money to create a squad. And the squad is still not functioning. Yeah. I mean, 2-3 months ago, they were like looking really good.
Up till Christmas.
Now, now it doesn't look like it looks like they need something that I can't figure out.
Maresca even said it too, which was ridiculous. I think he said, if someone passes long, they're getting subbed out. Like he wants you to play from the back. He wants you to have that sort of that pep.
Yeah.
Kind of tiki-taka, but more about possession, more horizontal passing, and then you slowly wear them down. But he basically said, whether it's your skill set or not, like you're going to play this way.
Yeah.
And if you don't play this way, you're not going to start. As much as you should admire somebody staying true to their tactics and having that identity, you need to be able to adapt to the circumstances. Yeah, you need to be able to know that whether if the opponent's going to even allow you to play that way, you should field a team that hits the weak points of the opponent more.
Yeah.
If that means that a better player does not start because someone else that not that fits your system but fits the weaknesses of that opponent, you should be able to adapt for that as well. You shouldn't just stubbornly go in with your own tactics because that's who you are. You should be malleable. If players are malleable, coaches should be as well.
I wonder if it sets the precedent for next year to be great in terms of Chelsea football or as a squad too, because now was that he's been there for how long? 2 years now. This is his second year.
This is his first season. I thought his first full season. Yeah.
So full season. So looking at what I guess when the season finished, but so far. He's not bad because at least he might finish in top 5. So
I was gonna say they're absolutely competing for a Champions League spot. So
might be next year will be that year where everything kind of kicks in because he did kind of good for his first season.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about even I did it just now. They're fighting for a Champions League spot. Therefore, they should be he should be taken more seriously. But really, a lot of what makes them still in contention for that spot is well behind them. It was that first half of the season. So it's not so much that they're still in good form and they're just kind of chipping away and letting it go. Like they still have this good grace and their good placement on the table because they were playing so well early on. It's like they might not still be there if they maintain this current form till the end of the season. So we'll have to see that. And for them to do that, they're going to have to adapt. He is going to have to adapt because I think the players can do that. They have such a massive squad that's guaranteed to have different play styles. If you have 80,000 people in your first team, you can put guys together that can get along or that have different skill sets.
I think he limited to 21. I remember how he said.
Yeah, well, he made a lot of enemies that way too. Where like now that some of his A team is out of form, he can't just go grab the B guys and be like, "Hey, sorry I was so mean to you earlier. Let's do this thing right." It's like no, like you should make it clear. It's like this is my starting lineup. If you're in the B squad, prove me wrong. But the way that he did it was establishing dominance, and he was kind of short and terse with people. Yes,
that's what you don't want to do.
It sounds good on paper when you come in and say, "I'm flipping this team upside down. I'm the boss." It's like you do need everybody to still be on your side though, because you might need them, and he's in that position.
On the flip side, City play Brighton, man. City can catch a break, 2-2.
Yeah,
oof, and they're fighting to get that Champions League spot. What would be City without a Champions League spot with all the Saudi money? Money can buy anything.
Back to who they really are, baby.
But look at it though. But the defender, I was kind of sorry for him. What's his name? Dang. Kuzanov, yeah.
Yeah, he has this facial expression.
Man,
it makes me feel sorry for him. Yeah, because you know that he's young, and you can tell that he's a bit affected by the run of form that he's having. He understands that he's not being thought of highly by the team, by the fans. But he has these like painful faces where he's like, I'm sorry this is happening to you, man.
But he didn't play bad though. He saved a lot. It's just that one mistake.
Yep.
And that's what everybody always remembers. They never remember these things that you did or whatever.
Even his debut goal. Even his debut was that way. Remember, like that first 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the game was not terrible, but that first 8 minutes that he had were horrendous, absolutely horrendous, and it defined his mood. You could tell that he was scared after that. And that's what separates a veteran player from a young player. It's like, even if you do make it, I mean, Sergio Ramos gave own goals.
Yeah, but that's the general.
But once he concedes that goal, he goes, fuck it, here we go. And it's like, he forgets that it happened. You can tell that Kusanov carries the weight.
Mentally, too, it plays. So, are we going to say, and I think you said it last time, KDB, Silva, all these guys, Gundogan, hanging around the team, I wonder if it kind of affects the team to move forward, because at this point I think the team should move forward past them, because they are past the team. They don't fit anymore, and just hanging around. I feel like last year even brought I guess last year what City did and resigning these guys was a little bit detrimental to them this season.
I think that and I think we talked about it on the show as well, but really it was noticeable for me. Bringing back Gundogan was a massive mistake. Not only because he's out of form, but like what that represents to the squad too. That's the most blatant way of saying
nothing to prove.
Nothing to prove, and you're kind of openly declaring that you made a massive mistake. To your squad. And it's like, you shouldn't regret, like, you can regret letting someone go, you can regret signing somebody for way more money than they're worth, but actually bringing somebody back is like, it's kind of this really cowering kind of like, oh shit, like we're nothing without him. But like he's out of form. He was at the age where he was going to naturally drop off anyway. But that was the sign for me that they jumped the shark, that it was too late, and that he's no longer fully confident in his decisions.
Because what it did also, it prevents the talent seeker, it prevents the scout, it prevents Pep Guardiola to actually see or foresee than what he has in terms of go getting a talent that can replace these guys, because you still have these guys hanging around,
and you're going to have to replace them. So why bring him back when you needed to have gotten his replacement 2 seasons earlier, and you never did that.
And that's the whole. I think that also affects your style of play, because these guys can't keep up anymore. And also Doku is so good, but man,
by that you mean his dribbling and his pace.
It's like 100%. It's like, you know how, well, and I guess you don't believe in this, but when God created him, they put 100% talent, skills, and 0% finish.
Yes.
It's like a chef that cooks and at the end drops the meal.
I was gonna say his FIFA card stats would be pretty funny if they were accurate to his play. Like like 99 dribbling, 97 pace, and then what's his finishing, like 25?
That would have been actually amazing if he could just finish.
Yeah, for sure.
He would have killed it, but he can't.
Can he learn that, do you think?
Oh, he's 23? I think bad habits are difficult to change if you don't work on it. By the time he passed 25, and in football years, you think it's a lot. It's not, because by the time you 1, 2, 3 years past you 26, you're like, oh damn, I am 26. It becomes difficult to change it, because then you fall in a Raheem Sterling situation where you got good years where people are looking at you, or coaches are looking at you, like, oh, I can benefit from his speed. But after those good years where you're supposed to be experienced, they're like, He didn't learn.
Yeah, and do you think that the way that Pep coaches, do you think that it'll be harder for him to learn that because he is clearly being asked to do one or two things, kind of like Jack Grealish. Like he's supposed to be this free roaming maverick, but you've kind of stripped him bare to where he does like one or two tasks. Is Jeremy Doku going to be a bit more limited because all he's being asked clearly by Pep is just you just blitz down that wing, you hold up play, you take the ball, you get the ball in the box. Does he need to be in a bit more of a free system to where like he's going to have to take those chances for himself,
No.
or do you think that Pep's trying to hide that lack of ability?
I think Pep expects him to be a little bit free than Jack Grealish just because of
I would
his
agree with that.
creativity. Because remember when he bought him, he even said in an interview that's a proper winger.
Yeah.
Because he's been looking for someone like that. Not to say that Jack Grealish wasn't like that, but Jack Grealish was not. How will I say? There's certain players that too technical where you look at them, you're like, I can't really take away from this. But I don't think he expected him to also not have a finished product by this time.
Do you think that it would be beneficial to maybe have Grealish and Doku on the pitch at the same time? What if you had Jack Grealish in, well, now you have Marmoush doing it, but like that attacking midfielder where he can kind of be free and just look at Doku and say, all you do is use your pace down the wing, hold up play, and feed the ball inside. Don't take any shots for yourself. But once Jack gets the ball in the box, he might have that Villa mentality again. And because that is kind of like Marmoush is a bit more of a well-rounded player than Jack. He's taking the ball for himself outside the box and bringing it in and saying, if you're not going to do it for me, motherfucker, I'll do it for myself. And he's succeeding. But, if you, in that way, though, you could have Jack Grealish being more free like he used to be, and Doku using that very small window of his skill sets to the utmost.
Now, it just depends on what he is thinking as far as replacement. I don't know, because if you bring Doku, and you were thinking and you said this is a proper winger, so you are already thinking about replacing Jack Grealish because you're bringing someone young, someone technical. But if this someone young and technical also don't give you a finished product, he's also a liability because what's good to dribble past everybody in the field and you can't score? It's just a waste of energy and space and time.
Ball goes like you're dribbling your ass off and you're outpacing everybody, but then you have one bad dribble with the ball and it's out for a goal kick. You're like, oh my god, that wasted everything. You
know what I actually think? I think he will go back to Grealish or B bring another guy if Doku don't fix his thing, because your liability if we are having a sequence of pass or attacking and you have an open shot and if you take, you miss. If you always have to pass, it means if you break that line of attack or defense and you have to come back to pass, then by the time you do that, your opponent has already repositioned themselves. It makes it difficult. So it's going to be difficult. I feel like he has to fix it. So next season might be the time for him.
Do you maybe ditch, for now at least, the three-man front for a two of Marmoush and Haaland to get more people back in that midfield, because they need that extra prowess in the midfield, whether or not it's going to be people that can advance the ball better, they can get back in transition. You just maybe need more bodies for safety. And instead of just having Doku languishing on the wing, at least the two guys that are up in the forward-most positions do have finishing capability.
Though it means your your formation will kind of be different.
Oh yeah.
Because now you have two. Will you have a 2-4? Is it a 2-3-2?
Yeah. So I'm just thinking of a way to kind of help De Bruyne and Gundogan with their legs.
I don't think
without having somebody on the wing that's not maximized.
I don't think at this point you can help them. I think you have to either, if you want to keep De Bruyne, you have to bring in someone that is a little bit as talented in that alley as him, where they can alternate every time. Because you look at Madrid, man. Although Modric is crazy, to be honest, playing at this rate in Champions League,
he's not a good game. He's not a good example to use. He's an outlier. He's an outlier for sure.
Because I would have said, you look at that, and Ancelotti is thinking, "Oh, I'm bringing Camavinga, I'm bringing Tchouaméni." Because although this guy does like 90 minutes in a Champions League game, the next game that we have, he's not going to play. I'm resting. I'm alternating. Sometimes I give him 10 minutes, but when it matters more, he's going to get the 90 minutes. But you have to do that because KDB don't have it in him as far as he don't have the lungs anymore.
And the rumored signing is, I think, the closest that you can. We had that last week of like, no one plays exactly like Kevin De Bruyne, but you know who's kind of close though? Florian Wirtz. And they've been linked to him as well. He's got more pace than KDB ever had, but his threaded passes are similar. He can take shots for himself. He is a creative passer. He does allow for more options to build up just outside the box. That's as close as they can get on paper. If you brought him in and then maybe found a way to get Tchouaméni in there.
That's another thing, because Pep is always all about, if I have a guy like KDB, I'm gonna have another guy as a 6 that will hold the whole thing down.
Sit back, yeah.
And I feel like Tchouaméni, when I look at I haven't looked at every single player in the team, but from just my little knowledge of what I've seen lately, I feel like Tchouaméni will be a good person to come and fill in.
Because by the time that Rodri's back, I'm not saying that he's.
I forgot Rodri.
I'm not saying that he's never going to come back into form, but like it took Virgil van Dijk like 9 months to get back into pure form. And
he's back when the next season starts.
Yeah, I think so. So like by the time that he's back and ready to go, it's not that you need a replacement for him, but like you should be looking, because you've learned your lesson of not looking for immediate replacements for KDB and Gundogan, and now you really need them. It's like you need to learn from that mistake, and like you need to start preparing for not only Gundogan and KDB to leave, you need to start preparing for Rodri to leave as well at some point.
I wonder if Marmoush is going to be the proper 10, or he's going to kind of, transform him to a left wing. Because Marmoush got pace.
Yeah.
Marmoush dribbles. Marmoush finishes.
He has a creative eye for a pass as well.
Yeah. So I wonder.
He's a very well-rounded forward, actually.
He is. Every time he's such a joyful player to watch.
Yes,
you actually enjoy his production rate on the field. It doesn't misses. It doesn't. Well, everybody misses, but the rate at which he misses is really low.
And you can tell the quality of a player too when like the rest of the squad is out of form. And he doesn't seem out of form though. He's one of the few guys that whether or not he can do all of it to get it done, and he did that a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. Of whether or not it led to the end result of a goal. I mean, I saw him rip through the midfield when there was no option for him to do anything else with it. He has that ability, but that's the quality of player that you can see. Where everyone else is out of form, it doesn't seem to affect him in the immediate ways of his performance.
Definitely, no, I can definitely work with that. I think I'm really excited. Well, not really excited, but I'm wondering what will happen this signing summer, because I read someone was saying that, hey, teams, you guys should hide your CDMs because Pep Guardiola is coming.
He's shopping. He's shopping.
He's got to shop for a proper CDM.
You need to lock Tchouaméni in the bottom of the stadium. In the maintenance areas, they're looking for him. They have no idea where he is.
You know what is crazy? I want the best for those players, but I wonder who is going to leave, because when you look at Madrid squad, and it's really difficult. Like you have once in a generational manager, even in life, like company or whatever, that can manage such talented people and ego at the same time. Because you look at the squad, they're kind of all of them are stars.
Yeah,
the big players, the big following, you can get in your head, and you look at them, and whatever comes out of the locker room is they're all happy. It looks like they don't want to leave. So it's like, who is gonna leave?
Well, the thing is, City needs so many new signings as well. That not every signing but that's the thing though. If you need that many guys, not every signing that you make can be that $100 million Wirtz. Because I mean, like financial fair play, you're gonna get screwed by that as well. Like you need a lot. It's like
City, they might get away.
Yeah, they might. So like you need to start looking at like maybe like Romeo Lavia for a 6, because you're not gonna be able to get Wirtz and Tchouaméni and Isaac and so and like you're gonna need to settle for some of the smaller transfers at some point somewhere within. It doesn't mean that you're sacrificing talent.
That's true.
But I mean, like you can't go grab $500 million player. You just can't do it.
You can go to Lille and grab this guy Andre. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Do you think that even somebody like Zambo Anguissa? Because he's a little bit older, so it's not a permanent fix. But you need somebody to hold down the middle of the park, and he does have a good defensive capability.
Yeah.
He proved it with Napoli with that. What was it? Zielinski, Lobotka, and Zambo Anguissa that were like that best midfield in Europe at 3 years ago.
The thing about Zengiz now that I'm looking at it is like, okay, he can do some of those things, but I wonder if the quickness will affect him. Because City is not they are a fast-paced team in terms of quickness, short burst energy. Not really in terms of like Madrid, where it's just more like long.
Right.
Short burst. I don't know if that is his style though.
Yeah.
That's where you can run into.
Would you have him sit back more like a deep six, and then have Rodri in the middle, really able to dictate pace, and then have Wirtz kind of bleeding into that attacking lineup for Marmoush?
That's probably what
that sounds okay.
Because Anguissa is really good at defending, and he's big and he can hold down everyone. So
like, how much would he? I actually don't know what his contract situation is at Napoli, but like that sounds like a good. Like this isn't a 5-year this is a 2-year deal. Because I think he's like 29, so he still has good years ahead of him as well. But he's not your immediate fix, your long-term fix rather. But I do feel like he's a good short-term. Let's get back on the right track kind of a thing.
Yeah, he does. I look at it that it's just gonna be really difficult. I mean, and he can also. I feel like he can also play well in Pep Guardiola's style, because he's also pass-oriented and all that. So it's gonna be very, very interesting to see that.
Yeah.
Going to the Champions League the weekend, a lot of polling,
a lot of crazy stuff, man. Man, I was so bummed that Dortmund squeaked past Lille. For a while, I thought I was going to be correct on that.
It felt like Lille had it, and they just that's where
they did have it. Oh man, like I was so excited for them, and it just didn't shake down.
That's the thing with this higher level competition, where at some point it's not how talented you are in a sense. It's more like, have you been here before?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have it in you to go the extra mile?
Yeah.
If we have to push come to whatever the word is, can you get to that level?
Yeah.
Mentally, can you unblock that next character in your head?
Yeah.
But if you can't,
that's why Real Madrid can play lackluster all the way through, but they know what it takes to advance to that next step.
Yeah, and you know that, and you know that,
and they pay the refs. Sorry, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
And also at that level, you have to understand every single error matters. You know,
sure.
You can't do too much, and you also gotta score.
Yeah,
you gotta finish.
You can't rest in the fact that Dortmund do allow a lot of mistakes at the back. You can't bank on it, even though they do. But you can't bank on that being your avenue of success. Yeah. It can be a cherry on top of the cake, because they do give away a lot of goals. They have mistakes in them, but you have to pretend like they're not going to that day.
And the one thing that Madrid really does well that every other team in this competition is the opportunities. And I feel like that's the mistake of all the other teams.
Yeah.
At this high rate competition is whatever you have, you gotta put it in the net. You have to finish it.
Yeah.
You have to convert. But a lot of people don't do. A lot of other teams don't think they will still get this. But sometimes you don't get it. You get one shot. You're like Eminem. You get one shot, one opportunity.
Do not miss your chance.
Do not miss your chance. It's the same thing with Paris Saint-Germain, Liverpool. That Liverpool just had that one thing and they put it in the first leg. But at least we know who's going for the next round.
Yeah.
And the next round is it's tough.
It's cool.
We're getting in the nitty-gritty of the competition. Yes. The best of the best. I
like this format a lot, actually. I like being able to see the bracket.
Yeah.
Without the next draws.
Yeah.
Being randomized. I liked the league stage. I know that I've been kind of every episode talking about how much I like the new format. I like the new format quite a bit all the way through.
Bayern Munich Inter is a hard one.
Yeah.
Because Inter actually, I think they only had, if I'm not mistaken, which I'm trying to make sure this stats is right, but I think they only have been scored on twice this whole Champions League.
Who?
Since the Inter Milan.
Let me double check that.
I don't think they because Arsenal might be just 3.
Wow. So Arsenal have conceded 3 goals.
Yeah.
Inter Milan have conceded. I'm having to look at it to make sure it's right. They've conceded 1 goal.
That's it, 1 goal.
That's nuts.
That's why people don't. It's like they're
Bastoni, man.
They're flying under the radar.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I actually did not see that.
I read that the other day. I was like, oh shoot. Then I started looking into it.
They've scored.
That defense is crazy.
They've put 11 in and scored 1. Barcelona have scored 28 and let in 13.
See,
they've let in quite a few.
So if you had to compare output ratio versus, Inter is actually leading.
Yeah.
So,
but you know what? That matchup has 0-0 and then 1-0 on the 2 legs written all over it.
Inter Bayern?
No. If Barcelona and Inter match up, because like that just I feel like Inter will they'll sit back.
Sit back and just wait. Interesting. I feel like that would be a much more difficult matchup for the finals, where you will not be on the edge. But Inter Bayern, I'm interested to see what comes out. Arsenal Madrid. I wanted us to talk a little bit about Arsenal Madrid because we're both kind of fan of them, in a way. In a way, yeah. So, do you think this is the best matchup for Arteta? Because if Arsenal had been if Atletico Madrid went through, then Arsenal will have to play Atletico Madrid.
Yeah,
that would have been a tough matchup.
It would, yeah.
A lot of people, and the reason why I say, this is probably a better one versus Atletico, because Arsenal don't do well with low block.
Yeah, especially with a lot of their forward players either being out of form, playing out of position, Mikel Merino, or being injured. Although it does look like Bukayo Saka will be back for these 2 legs. Yeah, I mean Madrid are a little bit more vulnerable at the back than Atletico. They don't play such a defensive-minded style.
Yeah.
But yes, you would rather play in an odd way a Real Madrid side than an Atletico side when you're so chronically out of form in converting goals.
Yeah, because Atletico Madrid, their lower back, low block is different. It's kind of like level 2 of Newcastle and Aston Villa. It's hard to get in, and Arsenal is really they really don't do well against low block because there's not a lot of creativity that goes in, especially when they play this type of teams where they can actually score on. But having Madrid, the consensus or the general population feel like, because it's a little bit open in the back, they can actually have chances. They can actually score, and in their defense is also good because they defensively in the Premier League they have the best defense.
Yeah.
But does that translate to playing a team like Madrid? Because this is my counter argument, and I will give another counter argument to my counter argument.
Nice, good for you.
So, yes, it's good. Yes, they have a good defense, but you play Madrid too. The assumption is Madrid is not good in defense, but are we gonna say that because we see how Madrid plays against him that they feel like they will still score no matter if they play bad defense or not?
Yeah.
Or do we say that when we look at Madrid City, where they had to lock down City?
Yeah.
Where if they play defense well, it will matter for them? Or are we looking at what Madrid are we gonna get? Because at least you already know what Arsenal you're gonna get.
It's true. Even with a slightly more informed, forward line, they still didn't look too convincing against Chelsea. You can really tell that Odegaard is languishing in his lack of creative avenues. He's kind of passing horizontally. He's missing a lot of through passes because the people aren't making the sort of runs that he's used to. The smothering nature of their attack is kind of withered out. I do not like the idea of Calafiori covering Rodrigo.
Yeah.
I do not like that at all.
That's another thing.
Someone else is going to have to come in and sort of help with that weight. I would be very interested in seeing Yuri Timber versus Vinicius Jr.
Yeah.
That seems like it could be a really good back and forth. In his current form, and I know I'm gonna eat these fucking words later. I'm sure I will. I feel more concerned about Rodrigo on Calafiori than I do about Gabriel and Saliba covering Mbappe.
Yeah.
In his current form.
Okay.
I feel a bit better of them being able to lock down the center. I can see Rodrigo getting inside Calafiori quite a bit and feeding it into Mbappe that way and finding an opening. If it's Mbappe finding a way through or putting his back to goal against those two guys, I feel pretty confident they can lock him down.
Okay.
But if there's a forward opening, I guarantee it's going to come from Rodrigo on the inside, cutting in from Calafiori.
Another Arsenal point that I will give is Arsenal also have a little bit of tricks in their bags where they have the set pieces, which Madrid don't have no set. I mean, they don't really score via set pieces because they're not really good at it. But that's the thing Arsenal does have, especially on the corners. You know, that they have an advantage in those. They can use all those to win the game. But there's also what I call the Champions League mentality.
Yeah,
that's another thing. You know, because Madrid, you can play all. I mean, City was really great, but it was difficult for them too.
You know, there's no one player that I can think of in the central midfield. So that excludes Bellingham because I think that he kind of rides a little bit more into the attacking. I like Declan Rice's sort of lineup against Madrid. You don't want Modric matching him for intensity and consistency throughout. I think he's a little bit more athletic than Tchouaméni.
Yeah.
Not that Rice is blazing speed, but I can see him giving Tchouaméni a hard time coming in behind. You think that Bellingham might have to sit back a tiny bit more to absorb some of that. I mean, I like the matchups that I see on paper for Rice in those two legs for sure.
That makes sense. And I wonder if I'm seeing Modric in this game or not.
That's kind of what I was trying to say. I don't know where he would go.
Because if I see Modric in this game, it means they're gonna kill you guys on counterattacks. They're gonna sit back.
Yeah.
And that would be troublesome.
Because they can't have him dictating the pace in the midfield. It's going to have to be quick transitions, threaded passes on the counter, but he himself can't be a part of the engine in that.
No, he would just be the guy.
He'll get burnt up way quick.
So that's now if he's not there, it means they probably will go 50-50 defending, attacking. But on Arsenal side too, I think the defense will make a big difference in that game because the really good thing about teams like Madrid, where even though they're not a team union wise, there's one thing that they have individuals that are really creative, and on a scale of 1 to 10, the creativity outweighs.
Yeah, you know, it's unfortunate for them that Camavinga is so out of form because his mobility in the midfield would probably be very, very appreciated, especially when it seems like because Arsenal's attack is less smothering and they're taking more time now working the ball up front, whereas last season and even part of this season it felt like it took them a split second to get the ball from the back line up into the forwards rushing into the box. You would need someone like Camavinga being able to run back and cover for defense. If he's still out of form, do you put him in the middle of the park for that mobility's sake rather than hoping that Modric just doesn't get completely burnt out?
No, I think they will do what they did. That's why I said if I see Modric in the game, they'll probably play how they play Atletico Madrid.
Sit back and then quick counter?
Yeah,
sure.
So that's probably what they will do. Because when I say defending too, you guys will have a hard time passing to you know that guy you like in Madrid, what's his name? I forgot his name. The Madrid guy that plays everywhere.
Valverde.
Yeah. He's gonna be playing the right back.
Yeah.
He's gonna be difficult to pass him.
Yeah.
Because he's
and that's good for him as well too, because that's in the forward lineup aside from Mikel Merino. Like Trossard does not have pace. Martinelli has pace, but he's chronically out of form this whole season. Yeah. Valverde is going to be able to actually have a bit of an easier time working his way into the midfield, I think. If he was covering the right side, that'd be a bit of an issue because even though if Bukayo Saka's not back, Ethan Nwaneri could give him a little bit of a difficult time. But the fact that he's on that right side and that's the two guys in that forward position for Arsenal are struggling in form, he'll have more freedom.
I would, if I'm Arsenal, I would play the same game I play. I would try to pass through Mendy's side more than often. Yeah. And if I have opportunity, I try to convert it because in games like this, you might not have many of those. Yeah. And also you have to be you have to be really creative because this will really make a difference. So other guy, if Saka comes, these guys will have to be in charge of creating as much as they can because if they don't, it will be a killer for you guys. Because one thing I see Madrid doing is at the top. You guys have a good defense. Not saying no, but having to defend day in day out with Rodri, Vinicius,
Yeah.
even Atletico that are locked down guys is difficult because
Sure.
they will be pounding every second.
Yeah.
So
And do you trust Miles Lewis-Skelly on the left over Calafiori at this point? At this point in his form, I think that you do, but you're asking a lot from a very young player, and a young player that is kind of showing a tendency right now, early on, especially in his career, to get frustrated. Calafiori doesn't seem to have that issue, but he is much easier to get in behind. So I don't know if you leave yourself open that way.
the first leg is played where at Bernabeu. Because if the first
No, I think that it would be home field.
okay.
Home field because
that probably
Arsenal was seated.
can give an Arsenal advantage because if what they have to do is probably try to win. Because if Madrid wins it there,
Yeah.
there's no way they're winning at Bernabeu.
100%.
There's just no way.
Yes, the first leg is at the Emirates.
That's what they have to do.
I
Just
agree.
win it there, go to Bernabeu, sit down, let Madrid come, and you can counter.
Yeah.
Because the defense is not good.
Yeah, and they haven't matched up for the in almost 20 years at this point.
Yes, the last time was in 2006,
Yep.
2005, and Madrid didn't beat them. They beat Madrid first leg 1-0
Yep.
and the second leg 0.
I would take advantage of the fact that that you start out at home, that they're not familiar with playing you. They don't necessarily have all the remedies ready for you. I think playing overly conservative at home against a team that doesn't know you very well would be a foolish thing.
Yeah, no.
You
Don't
put
do
yourself out there, you risk yourself a little bit, but I think that trying your best to get back to that smothering attack and high press defense, like it's gonna burn you out. You're gonna leave yourself open for a counter, but you just get a shadow of your old form back.
Another thing before we leave is if I'm Arsenal, I mentally prepare my guy. We are going to play this game 90 minutes. And during the 90 minutes, we are not letting down.
Yeah, not
We're
89.
Not getting frustrated. We're not
89 and a
because-
half.
No, because what Madrid likes to do is you might play the whole game, but the last 40 seconds,
Bellingham.
it just comes everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And if you are not still focused in the game, that's where a lot of teams kind of lose it. I mean, if you look at how they win all the games, they wait till that last moment where they know you're tired. Because they're all young. They just keep smothering you guys down.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
You don't want to do that. All right, guys, we had a pretty good show here.
That was an amazing episode.
Yeah, actually, it was.
That was a
Yeah,
fantastic.
I'm
I can't
telling
believe how
this
good
guy-
that was. Actually, I can because we're pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. Go subscribe.
Subscribe.
Go subscribe. Turn on your bell notification.
Ring that bell, bitch.
Everything, actually. We got TikTok, Instagram.
Bing, 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 bing.
Yeah.
Which one is that?
Yeah.
Bing, bing. Which one is the bing, bing? There it is. Ring that bell, bitch.
Yeah. Go do it, guys. And go follow us. And we post this every single Tuesdays. And we have shorts, reels, and whatever. You can
YouTube,
have
Spotify, and the Tik
you
Tok,
can
man.
have
That's
fun.
those are the three big ones.
Definitely see you guys next week. Bye.
Goodbye. Maresca even said it too, which was ridiculous. Someone passes long, they're getting subbed out. He wants you to play from the back. He wants you to have that sort of pep, more about possession, horizontal passing, and then you slowly wear them down. He basically said, whether it's your skill set or not, like, you're going to play this way, and if you don't play this way, you're not going to start. As much as you should admire somebody staying true to their tactics and having that identity, you need to be able to adapt to the circumstances. You need to be able to know that whether the opponent's going to even allow you to play that way, you should field a team that hits the weak points of the opponent more. If that means that a better player does not start because someone else that fits your system, but fits the weaknesses of that opponent, you should be able to adapt to that as well. You shouldn't just stubbornly go in with your own tactics because that's who you are. You should be malleable. If players are malleable, coaches should be as well.
I wonder if it sets the precedent for next year. City play Brighton, man. City can catch a break. 2-2.
Yeah.
Oof. And they're fighting to get that Champions League spot. What would be City without a Champions League spot with all the Saudi money?
Back to who they really are, baby.
But the defender, I was kind of sorry for him. Kuzanov, yeah.
He has this facial expression.
Man,
it makes me feel sorry for him. Yeah. Because you know that he's young. And you can tell that he's a bit affected by the run of form that he's having. He understands that he's not thought of highly by the fans. He has these like painful faces where he's like, I'm sorry this is happening to you, man.
But he didn't play bad though. He saved a lot. It's just that one mistake.
Yep.
And that's what everybody always remembers. They never remember these things that you did or whatever.
Even his debut was that way. Remember like that first 4 minutes?
Yeah.
Like the rest of the game was not terrible, but that first 8 minutes that he had were horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. And it defined his mood. You could tell that he was scared after that.